And really an interesting journey where you're going from activism to collaboration. And I think one of the critical ingredients in making that work is that building of trust between your groups and the counter groups. And I want to invite Sonia, who works with the Urban Poor Federation in the Philippines, to talk a little bit about that. I know you work a lot with mapping and community data. And a question that I always get from local government is, but can we trust that data? If you don't have that trust, how do the local governments know that you're not just trying to push your own agenda? So I thought you could tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, partly I will share about the data, but as what Joseph is also saying, why we are here and why I am here today. Aside from Rose and Joseph's sharing, I would like to share why I am here. It's because of the aspirations of a mother. Yeah, and I think we came from, when you listen to the stories of SDI, for 22 years that we've been here, we cannot finish in maybe in years also, because a lot of leaders are here because of that stories. And mine is because I didn't realize that until I get married and I have 2 children, I didn't realize that land is very important until such time that evictions came to us. So when I always share this because this is where I belong. When my children cried because demolition is coming, that's when I realized that this cycle of being homeless, being a squatter should be stopped. Because my parents, my grandparents, and my relatives doesn't own even a piece of land. And this is where I am here today. And this kind of struggle within the community is very tough. You have to have a lot of courage and political will also, like the local government. So when we go to the local government that time, when you say, we will be evicted, and then the local government will say, it's your fault. You squat in private-owned land. So this is how local government treats us before. So with that kind of challenge that we had, we were able to, just like Rose, we have to organize ourselves, we have to do savings, and then the question is, can your 1 peso savings buy land? So again, the challenge of how do you leverage resources? So we started with that. And I said, I'm not going to stop until my children will not become squatters anymore. So that's the promise to myself. And as I stand here today, I own the 60 square meter plots because of that dream and admiration from a mother like me. And I said, I'm going to stop now. I have my 60 square meter plots, I reached my goal. But then I realized that there's still a lot within the city who have the same aspiration as me, as a mother, as a woman. And that started the career of being an organizer, of being, when people start asking you, why did you do that? How did you own that land? And then when local government comes to us, because it was in a forum where the federation have to present what is the federation doing, how to acquire land. And then the city mayor say, how did they do that? Because they were used to these communities trying to demand land, going to the street, give us land, that's our right. But with us, silently, we just do our own thing. So they start coming to us. And they said, how did you do that? And because it is also, just like SLAR, it is important how the city manager, the city mayor manages the city. If they have that agenda, then it becomes easy for you to come in. But with us, it's not easy because remember that when we came to them the first time, they said, it's your fault. But now they came to us, how did you do that? So that kind of experience has brought us a lot of confidence in ourselves, and we become partners of the city. Of course, to become the partner of the city, there's a lot of stories still. But then I tell you the story until afternoon we cannot finish. So, with that kind of partnership that we had now, it is, in the beginning we have to buy land. But as we go with the engagement, the partnership, with all the admiration, with all the constant lobbying with the city, I can say now that cities have given us land. It's not free still, because government still has to buy land. But of course they provided us land where we can build our house, and then we can build the community that we want to build. And the SDI has played a very vital role in that. Because as you say, when you build a house, you don't need only 10,000 pesos. You need a house that can surpass in the Philippines like typhoons. You cannot just build a makeshift house. Otherwise, you're building your house every year. Because when typhoon came from letter A, the name of the typhoon from letter A to letter Z, how can you manage that? So that kind of trust that we have been able to gain to this kind of partnership was very important from the SDI. This is the success that we want to share with everybody. And as I'm standing here today, the kind of partnership that we develop within the Federation at the national level goes beyond the giving of land. We were able to access also some technical assistance, because it's not easy to access money from the government. You have to go through a series of audits, you have to comply all of this. So we said, what is that assistance that you can give beyond money? So they said, we can give you our engineers, we can give you our architects, we can make possible shortcuts for you to process the kind of permits and licensing. So that's the kind of partnership that we want. So it's the trust that we gain because we were able to establish that kind of trust. And now I speak here today, we were involved in a lot of, sometimes they said, oh, you're being a domestic helper of the city now. Because if there's some community that's facing eviction, they will say, oh, can you call the Homeless People's Federation, the Philippine SDI? Maybe they can help this community to do savings where they can negotiate for this land. And we were successful in that, even with the banks. Because the banks has this foreclosed land, and they said there's squatters living there. And say, okay, we'll give them 1 year, and then can you please organize them, because we're going to sell the land to them at a cheaper cost. So there's a lot of success stories. And when we say the local government, they say, oh, we don't need government because we can buy our own land. SDI can give us money, CBLA can give us money to buy land. But then we're looking at the sustainability part. Because I always remember our director saying that the only sustainable way of doing this development is with the government. NGOs will come and go, our private partners will come and go, but you and the government will be there forever. So that's the kind of, we have to push ourselves to be inside the structure of the government. So as I speak to you today, I was part of I'm sitting on the executive council, headed by the mayor, planning about the whole city. So if there's big investments coming, for example, there's a lot of reclamations coming in 2020 that will displace around 20,000 families. So you were there. So you use that opportunity because the trust was given to you. So we already have access to this kind of information now, which we didn't have before. So if they want to create roads, make roads, then you were there. So they will say how many communities were there, because the roads will be coming in that. And the roads, you cannot stop the roads to be in that area. But how do you prepare in the next 2 years, because roads will be going in that way. So this is very important, to be able to work together with the government, especially the local government. And the kind of engagement that we have now is because of SDI's strategy, it's because of the trust that was given, it's because we have created that trust. Created that trust in a way that we have money, we didn't just beg. We have capacity also to understand through our savings, we know how to manage, and we have numbers. Because the city will not just talk to you if there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 10. So we have to organize the whole city on a citywide scale of all these informal settlements, and we do that through this mapping and enumeration. So this kind of information now is very useful. But then, in the context of the Philippines, you have to use the national official data. And you say, oh, but this data is important, this is updated. Your census data is 10 years ago. But then, we use this in the city level, and we use this at our advantage also. So since I don't have time, because when we speak about ourselves, we can speak longer. But then I say, I would like to tell you that Rose said at the meaning of woman, a well-organized man. But then I have to get the quote from our vice president, who's also a woman. I say that the last man standing is a woman. So I am the last man standing.